there. My name is Brandon Everett, and I'm here this afternoon with my friend Little Fawn. And this afternoon, we wanted to share something unique. Um, I just want to share, too, to start here. My connection with Little Fawn started just short of 20 years ago, allegedly. And I was struggling with some real deep emotional, like disturbing emotions that were arising, and then also really vivid, terrifying dreams that were going on. And I sought out their help. And honestly, within the span of a day or so, probably by the next night, I'd noticed a huge shift in difference. It was a huge relief. The other thing that they introduced at the time was my first even like peripheral introduction to what meditation was and could be. So, you know, Little Fawn is really like the first person to kind of introduce me to, um, on one hand, like the simplicity, but also the power that was possible in exploring your inner landscape and connecting with, you could say, forces or energy beyond what you would just normally naturally perceive. So I'm honored to be here this afternoon to be kind of exploring in more detail an aspect of what she shares. So that's my connection right now, and there's other connections, but that feels like the most relevant and the one I wanted to share out. Um,
And what's funny is
yeah.
that was at a time where that was all new for me.
Mm.
Like, I was just waking up to it. I had had an experience where I had had a health problem with my kidney, and it was landing me in the hospital, and it was nobody knew why.
Mm.
And so was on medications, but it was debilitating and
Mm.
it was causing anxiety and a whole host of things. And then I ended up seeking out a friend of mine for energy healing work. And that was the first time
Mm.
where I was like, I don't really know what this is, but like, what else is there? So I went to see her, and inside the space of 3 hours, it was taken care of.
Mm.
We got to the root, we got to the underneath of the underneath. Um, and that opened up my whole world. And by the time I had met Brandon, it was shortly after that, or sort of as I was going through that, that our paths kind of
Yeah.
crossed. So it was all, when you learn something new and you're like, this thing's awesome, or you have to hear this
Sure,
song,
sure,
it's like you
sure.
want to tell everyone.
Yeah, it's interesting too with work like this. It often feels like sometimes people get the sense of like, just to use the metaphor of like, I've lived in this house, I've opened all the doors about health and well-being. I go for a run, I go to yoga, I do my 5 minutes of meditation every day. But then there will be some experience that reaches beyond what those things alone are capable of kind of
Yeah.
tending to. And sometimes it's just like luck, coincidence.
It's your own higher knowing waking up when your brain has other activities.
Well, it puts you into connection with people who
Yeah.
can help you because it sounds like you were going through something,
Yeah.
and by luck, by circumstance, things came together in a way that you met the person who could actually help
Right.
you, which is
Right.
half the battle, knowing that it's available. So the metaphor of the house, this is kind of like thinking like I know this house, from basement to attic and from front to back. And then one day you find out there's this whole other room that's like expansive and has a lot of benefit. So it's like opening this door
Yeah.
that I think most people haven't normally been introduced to.
And the windows and the curtains and the
And then, yeah, and then
letting
there's
the
the
whole of the light.
exploration. Yeah, there's an exploring the space and the feel of that room. Yeah, checking out how the light lands in there,
Yeah.
what belongs in there and what
Yeah.
doesn't. But so yeah, so that was I just wanted to kind of share my connection to Little Fawn from all those years back. And this afternoon we are doing something unique beyond what we've shared before in a video. And what
stepping
context
out.
what context do you want to give the conversation and the conversation that we're about to have?
So, right, I think it was right after the pandemic. In 2021, I had a reading with a woman, Diane Aquarius. A friend of mine had seen her and was like, she's amazing. She channels the Raw Collective. She also is a really gifted tarot reader. And I was like, sign me up for the other one. Like, I want to hear what, a higher consciousness, like, who's able to observe, like, the whole of the whole.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know, like, what they see.
Not just the view from 10,000 feet. This is like the
Right.
view from 100,000 feet.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, what is it?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's
like
what does it look like from there?
Big picture. And I remember inside that reading, one of the first things they said to me was, you're already talking to us. You've already made connection with us. You're already in conversation with us. And Diane actually said at the end of the reading, she went, oh my God, the whole time I was like, she feels like me. She feels like me. Do you do what I do? And I was like, no, I don't. But they wanted me to. Yeah. And I remember being very conflicted because, as you know, I'm a musician, I'm a singer, I'm a songwriter, and that had been a huge part of my identity for a long time. And it's still a part of me, but I had to learn how to not make it an identity, because it was the other gifts, the channeling gifts, the psychic gifts, the intuitive gifts, they were atrophied from lack of use. Also how I grew up, but it wasn't exactly a household that you could be like, hey, very Christian. I mean, my father was wonderful, but it's like, I wasn't going to come out of the cosmic closet at like 7 and be like, I think my dreams are more than, or I think I'm feeling all the feelings in the room, like those kinds of things. So it had atrophied, and they were asking me to focus on it. And what I heard at that time was, you can't do this, you have to do this. And as an Aries sun personality, I was like, did you just tell me I have to do something? Now I clearly don't want to do it.
I'm definitely not doing it now. Not when you put it like that.
Not when it's like homework. But so I struggled with it for quite some time. And they even said in the reading, we're not saying don't have music. We actually can feel how sad your entire soul would be. Yeah. And I apologize. I know we said it. I talk with my hands, so I'm apologizing to my microphone now for smacking it.
It'll come up bruised. Put some Band-Aids on it later.
Sorry, baby. But they said, we're not asking you to give it up. What we want is for you to embrace the other. And in fact, it will enhance everything else once you do that.
So I'm sorry, there's a couple of things I want to draw out too, because we have an audience now. It's some of the things that come top of mind to draw out here are, being told you have a skill or a talent. And it's interesting because on one hand, you go to somebody for higher guidance and they give you that higher guidance. And one of the first things we do sometimes is go, oh, I'm not interested in that.
That's not what I wanted to hear.
There's a part of us that's like, I know what you think you can see from 100,000 feet, but I actually think I should do this other thing, right? So we'll argue with our skills.
The thing is, not to interrupt, but we get the information we need. It's not about what we want on a human perspective. If you're asking at that level, you're asking for what you need. And so you have to learn to accept what that is on a deeper level.
Yeah. So there's this possibly, hearing what would serve your deepest goodness, right? Like what you really need to feel complete. And initially there can be a rejection of that, a going and back and forth about that, right? Like leaning into it at some times, backing off from it at others. I also think too, so good to normalize the sense of like, I had a sense that this was part of me when I was younger, that these were skills that were there, but not being in a context where they were nourished.
Right.
Because that's the other thing. Like we live at a particular time and in a particular culture where we really like if you excel cognitively, like if you're really good with like math and language,
Or sports
you know,
ball.
sports
And
ball.
I love sports ball, but
Sports ball is great. But it's one of those things where, you mention here that, these were skills I had that had atrophied. And so it's possible, I think, even for these deep, valuable tools, just through the context and the lack of use, to need to be, kind of beefed up again or like worked on again. Sometimes I think we have the perspective that if I'm a gifted person, I should just be gifted. Like
it takes practice.
if the person from 100,000 feet said it's there,
right?
Oh, well, isn't it just there then?
Not when it's atrophied.
But
like,
that wasn't your experience.
No, and it's the same thing. Like, I learned, I knew. So we all come in knowing everything, but the whole point of the experience of being a soul embodied here on Earth, especially now, is like, I think I've said it before, like, let's draw this insane little box and see how we do. Like, can we remember? Can we get out of it?
Yeah.
Can we? And so a lot of it is in just remembering and peeling away. So you come in knowing, but then it's a lot safer to be like, well, I can sing, people like that, so let's focus on that. Or I can write, or I can, those things, it's like, oh, that's what it's so talented, so gifted, and that's okay. But if I was like, I think I have an acute awareness of a higher part of yourself that you should listen to, but you're not, but like, what, you're like 11, what are you talking about? Like, it's not going to work. So they wanted me to start invoking it and calling it in. And the other thing they said, which anybody who knows me knows, they're like, we want you to get up earlier. And I was like, how early are we talking? And they would prefer like early.
Sorry, the joke that comes to mind, asking you to wake up early is like politely asking the sky to be green rather than blue.
Right.
It's like, I just don't do that. I just don't do early.
But I was willing to, I was like, okay, I can try, but there has to be a compromise. What I realized was, while yes, like Louis, my partner, he prefers meditating like later at night. He feels clearer then. The veil is certainly a little thinner then. But I find that once you learn that, I work a lot with frequency, and once you start to understand that it's a frequency, it's dialing in and matching something, it actually doesn't matter when you do it, only that you do it.
That you're able to
that you understand the shift in like how that feels. But I did start setting my alarm, and it was painful. And I was like, well, I'll get up at like, they wanted like 4 or 5 in the morning, and I said I would have to literally stay awake
the whole night
and then
to
go
reach
to sleep.
4 or 5 in the morning.
Right. And then what kind of day is that? And I'm a firm believer in that we're all meant to be here now. So in this kind of ascension process, like, a lot of people are like, when can we leave? When can we go home? Like, whatever that means for them. The point is, those of us here now, a lot of us, a good chunk of us, volunteered to be here now, to kind of be the bridges and usher in, a new way of being embodied, more of a soul embodied, and less of this dense, heavy, just like human, like that limited being that we think is our being, but that's actually not it. So we're all here because we chose to be here. And I forget where I was going because I tangented, but the point was, I was like, I'm just going to get up at 9.
I'll meet you in the middle. I will no longer sleep till 11 a.m., but I will certainly not get up
I will
at
try
4.
9. And I did enjoy it. I found I would get up and I would meditate and I would take out my journal and I would just automatic write. And one of the things that I had said to the Ra in my reading was, I feel like I'm getting downloads largely in the shower. Like, water was a conduit. But you can't put a microphone in the shower.
Not necessarily.
Because, it will fry, and a chance you will fry. Like,
so many reasons not to bring a microphone.
Right. I'm like, I don't think it's going to work. And also, who wants to hear incessant ramblings amidst like water? And like, it's just, I was
it's
like,
not the right vibe.
Yeah, it's not going to work. So there's another sort of inside joke, I've managed for the past years to be in apartments that only have showers. And so in this reading, they were like, perhaps you might try taking a bath. And I was like, perhaps you should shut your mouth. I was like, I would love to take a bath, but but there are other ways, you know, to, again, access its frequency. A
So
tub
that's
would
the
be
other
nice.
thing. Like, as you're, the other thing that's coming more clearly to me as you're sharing is, you know, initially the work was listening,
Yeah.
being open to listening, seeing things differently, and then offering to kind of alter how you're approaching things, even though they feel like this is bedrock and this is how I am. You're like, I had this openness to try things differently. And with that, it sounds like there was a period of practice where there was probably not a lot of ritual, but more ritual involved.
Yes, in the beginning, for
But
sure.
now you've come to the point where you realize all the ritual does is prepare me to shift into a kind of mode of awareness, this ability to attune to a frequency. And so whereas before it might have felt laborious or something like that, like there was just more steps involved, now it feels like just kind of pausing, tuning in, and then connecting with that, and then hearing what it has to say. Yeah.
Well, now that's why I love working with the oils. I like loaded Brandon up before before we started here, but I like the smell will center you and take you somewhere quicker than just about anything. And so when I do healing work, I like to, you know, kind of join, like help us attune to each other's frequencies so that we can connect together and connect to our own higher frequencies, and then allow that to kind of, like, they showed me this image of just like us connecting up, but also together. To a point, and then together, but then the out was like this sacred geometrical out that was well beyond just, and we're up and we're together and we're out. Like it's not, it's multidimensional. It's not quite that simple. The other thing that I use is sound, which again makes sense coming from the singing background, to again tune, like to attune my frequency. A lot of times when I know I have stuck energies, that's always been the cleanest. And I think I told you in the beginning, I used it to clear. So they weren't pretty sounds.
Yeah.
Like it was discord.
Oh, this is so interesting. Yeah. So you would kind of attune to the felt sense in the body and then kind of express it via sound to kind of get it out,
to shake it loose.
Yeah.
And it's very effective and very quick, but it's not pretty sound. I would wait until I got to the pretty sound. That's how I would know it had cleared. But then I'm thinking, you know, how when you're trying to figure out your place in this world and this shifting frequencies, I'm like, but how is that an offering? Like, come pay me money to like burp at you, and then it'll be good though after. Like, that's
you'll feel better after.
You'll feel amazing.
Like, I don't think I understand the process.
I didn't actually burp, but it was they were just discordant, like you know, almost not human sounding sounds, you know. But now I'm choosing to bring in, I use light language a lot to clear. And that's just, again, frequency that our words don't have a sound for. You know what I mean? Like there aren't words or like a word or a phrase for the energies coming in. So it's just like patterns of sounds and frequency. I'm not describing it very well.
And that, no. But I'm here to kind of unpack this as like, you know, Johnny on the street.
Yeah.
So, you know, when I came in this afternoon, what you're saying is you use the essential oils as a way to kind of maybe ground you more in your being.
And lift the frequency.
And then from there, you can better attune to the frequency. So this just happens to be like your door, like sound is a doorway, scent is a doorway, these kind of connecting with the senses. Yeah. And then the light language, when you attune to it, like when you go through this process, you connect with that, what comes through?
So what's funny is, so I teach voice, like, there's a joke that I teach voice lessons, but it's like a gateway for people who need spiritual guidance that think they want to sing, but it's like a bigger kind of sing. It's an inner voice.
It's the big song.
Yeah, it's the big song.
It's the song of the universe, right? It's the big song.
Yeah, you know, come see me for the big song. But I do have still like some littles, and I actually teach like voice. And a lot of times when people are blocked, I try to explain to them that it's just an exhale with sound. Don't worry about what it is. Just breathe in from your diaphragm and exhale, but allow there to be any note. Like it won't be wrong. I guarantee it. I guarantee you'll surprise yourself. That's kind of how the light language comes in. It's you inhale an intention or a question, and you exhale sound, essentially. So it'll come in, and it's another one that it helps me. I like using it in healing work because it helps break up energy really beautifully.
Like discordant and stuck energy.
And it sounds nicer.
So the way you've been doing this in part has been through writing, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like this connecting and attuning, and then what you've been doing in part is writing out kind of what comes through. But today we're going to try you just speaking it aloud.
Which I haven't really done yet.
Which we haven't done yet. But this is what life and especially science is all about. It's like, let's see how this works in a different context.
Well, and the ones that came through, like back to the shower, it's a collective called, or I call, or they allow me to call Asha. And when I had, again, the reading with the Ra, when I was talking about the shower experience, they were like, right, they are a highly evolved dolphin civilization that uses, they manifest very easily because they understand that you create with your thoughts. And so if they need, like, they're very fluid, very easy. It's like a really beautiful energy to connect to. And they were like Sirius B, dolphin civilization. I was like, all right, cool. So I went in, and that's when I in the original notebook, you see different. I'm like, is it this? Is it that? Like at first I was like, is it just the Akashic records? And it was like, no, this is the collective. And there's a section of them that are kind of like the elders. And sometimes those messages will be like, stiff is the wrong word, but they're not here to flower it up. They're like, is what it is.
To the point.
Yeah.
Very to the point
this is
with
what it is.
The direction and the intention of their communication. Okay.
And then there's another group that's younger, and they're a little more excited. Like they're the now ones that they love the communication. They're a little more fluid.
They just got their hands on the CB radio.
Yeah. They're like, woo!
And now they're talking to every trucker within 90 miles.
Well, do you know what it reminds me?
We have some insight. Now go ahead.
No, you know what it reminds me of? And then the third one's just the collective, of which I am a part of. So that's, I think, what makes the connection so easy, is because I'm a part of it. And it's not that, oh, that's my home planet kind of thing, because as souls, we've fractaled out into so many different, not just past lives, for like time isn't real kind of thing. It's all happening at the same time. That's probably a topic for another day. But
we'll put that in a different video. The fractaling of
souls. They're fractaling it out. So you're having multiple experiences, but they're simultaneous. So we're all from source. So it's not like that's home. It's a home. It's a place that I enjoy being. Yeah. So that's what makes the connection nice. But it reminds me of, if you ever read, I know you have read The Wrinkle in Time.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite books, but they remind me of Mrs. Watson, Mrs. Who, and Mrs. Which.
Oh, gotcha.
So like the younger ones are Mrs. Watson. They're like, yes, I'm finally allowed. Like we love this kind of connection. And then Mrs. Who is kind of like obtuse, and she speaks in rhyme and Shakespeare quotes and stuff, and you have to figure out like, well, what does that mean?
Yeah, what are you driving at? Yeah.
And then Mrs. Witch is just like, she doesn't show up often, but when she does, it's like she's here.
So who do you want to provide some context here? So you do channeling work. Well, this is interesting because
and then there's others, right? They're the main one, but then there are other more individual energies that will come through. I work with the Royal Star Lions, and I have a few that are my personal guides that have started to like speak up now that, once the do not disturb sign is off.
Well, here's the approach I wanted to take today for this particular experience, because this is the first time we're making a recording of
Yeah.
you doing a session in real time, and I'm curious, when you tune in, um, who wants to speak or who
Okay.
has a message, knowing that this is being recorded, and
Yeah.
the intention is to be broadly shared. So who wants to speak? Who's got a message?
I feel like it's definitely the elders.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So as you attune to that feeling of frequency,
Oh, this microphone, I'm sorry. We are here. What would you like to ask us?
so I wanted to introduce myself. My name is Brandon. I'm a friend of little Fawn, and I'm here with her today because we were trying to share some of the channeling work, some of the messaging she's been experiencing with you, in the hopes that it would benefit more people here.
We know you. We know you quite well. We honor you and your work that you do so beautifully with all who you work with here. It is not work that is easy. It is your life's work. You bring peace to so many, always looking to expand both your experience, but the shared experience as well.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's how I would describe the intention. Yeah.
What is it? What is it that you would like to understand more clearly?
You could say we live at a place and time where there's a lot of anxiety, tension, and uncertainty. If there was a principle you wanted us to understand, or a way to approach things, what would you say? What guidance would you offer?
We would suggest that you learn to see each other beyond the physical shells you have chosen as you became incarnate on this planet at this time, remembering that you chose to incarnate on this planet at this time for a very specific reason, beyond simply the learning and the experiencing, of which it is all learning and experiencing, nothing more, nothing less. You are here to do something that has never quite been done before, in that you are learning to embody the frequency of love in its purest, most unconditional form. That you must look on each other in love, with love, through love, for every one of you was born of love and is love. So when you see these things in your world that you feel are somewhat terrifying, somewhat disturbing, understand that what you see is actually the evolving, the purging, the clearing. After a forest fire, there will be new growth. And as for how bad the fire has to be, this is all up to you as a collective. Your media likes to stay in the fear because it is a guarantee, it is easy, it is a lower frequency, it is easier to maintain inside of the density that they are looking to have remain here on your planet. But more and more of you are lifting, and even in ways that are seemingly insignificant. Somebody who is nobody is everybody. And that is the point, that you all go within and create what you wish to see from the inside out, because everything outside of you right now is a result of your insides. It is like doing a dissection. You're on the table and they slice you open and everything is out. And if you lived a good life and you had a healthy vessel, then everything would look good. But when what you consume is not nourishing, when what you consume is corrosive, then you open it up and everything falls out, and it is not good. It is decayed, it is atrophied, it is burned, it is charred, it is not good. And so we would ask that you begin consuming what is good for you. And we do not speak of this in food only, although food is changing and should be changing. As your frequencies go up, you will need to eat less dense food and nourish yourselves more as a light body, as well as a physical body. That will require some adjustments, and they will be different for every one of you, depending on the frequencies you choose. But we are talking more about consuming energy. When you look at a screen all of the time, when you keep things coming at you, the notifications on your phone, the connection to social media, when you have all of these things firing at you all the time, you are allowing other people's outsides to become your inside, and then creating an outside that reflects that instead of the outside that is your true inside, which is love. And so we would say to focus on the light within. Each one of you is the light you seek. Each one of you has the capacity to choose the frequency that you wish to play in. Someone could be experiencing war and in the same space, but a different frequency band. There can be peace. And those of you here at this time, many of you have the monumental and yet beautiful task of bridging frequencies for those who are choosing to lift. Now, this isn't to say that you are meant to straddle anything at any point. You are meant to choose. You are meant to choose and meant to offer a hand, offer a way just by your being. Somebody sees the trail like a slug leaves, although I feel her laughing. But it's a trail. It's something that it's sparkly, this slimy creature that most people do not care to look at or see, but it leaves this glistening, sparkling trail that leaves you yet still curious. And so you leave the trail that invites curiosity. There will be no pushing, there will be no pulling. Each one of you is simply meant to find that spark of joy within you and create a trail to something else. And then allow others to have the journeys they choose. So there will be those for quite some time who will want to stay in the lower frequencies. And that means that you will have to learn how to let go. And it will have to be as simple, and it may feel cold, it may feel hard to many of you to just accept that, but you must let go. If frequencies align down the line, then they will. But each one is here to have their own experience. And inside of that experience is their choice. And so we encourage everyone to make the choice simply to be love, to choose every thought, every action, to be born of love, to take a pause and understand that everyone is moving through a great deal of shadow energy right now. And we encourage you to look beyond the shadow for the light that is aching to emerge, first inside of yourself, and then it will be much easier to see it reflected back. And what a gift to be able to look at someone who was always only seen as their shadow. What a gift you can give to see their light and make it brighter by your simple acknowledgement of it and your embracing of it. We're not saying you have to be friends with people who are choosing to dance inside of these lower frequencies. For when you choose your frequency, you will find that, like it or not, many will fall away. But should you find those who are getting closer to the bridge, that you think about extending and offering so that they may feel welcome and have an opportunity to link up with their own light and shift their frequency and shed old skins as you have been able to do. This is the way.
I just want to let that land. It feels redundant to say that that was beautifully and profoundly put, but thank you.
You're welcome. It is simply the truth as we see it, and as each of you knows it when you allow yourself to connect.
Is there anything else from your view and vantage that you want people to be aware of at this time in our progression here?
Don't be so quick to get to what you think is the end. This is not a game of completion in that sense. The point is to experience richly, fully. It is not about point A, point B, new A, new B. You are meant to experience the between. So we would say, even as things are speeding up rapidly, slow down. Slow down your way of living. Slow down everything. How you cook, how you have a conversation, be in each moment. Soak it all in. gain from the full spectrum, the full frequency spectrum. We work in frequency. We know that to manifest is to simply align with the frequency. You have much to learn about tuning in from this high place of integrity and beyond personal gain. For when you make choices that are in the highest good of the whole, you are always included in that whole. There is no need to sacrifice, to struggle, but simply accept what is in front of you now so that you can see the offering inside of your current now, in order that it may seed the future now that you long for. The future now is already here. It is simply a different frequency band. And Earth at this time, as we see it, has this beautiful opportunity to rise, not just individuals. We are moving beyond the guru, the single one that all follow. We're moving beyond that. You have an opportunity to rise as a collective. It has not been done before, and all eyes are on you. We are all here watching, supporting, rooting for you. For it has been a time like no other, and inside of the turmoil, there are new seeds being planted under freshly tilled soil. You are creating something wonderful. You just have to tune in, be the wavelength, follow it to the destination, not as a destination of completion, but simply as a vibration of experience, and then soak it in for all of its richness and fullness. And share. Remember, you are a collective. So many have forgotten. You are here together at this time. All of you. Be a collective. Understand your connection to the one, that you can be uniquely, beautifully individuated from source, and yet also source itself. And when you find that frequency, this is where true peace, true harmony, the true, as we hear so many of you call it, new earth experience can begin, for it has already begun.
Elders, what comes to mind is so many people doubt their ability to love, or are unsure that they have the worth to pursue love. Is there somewhere within, or some way, that you would begin to have them think of or see themselves differently?
You are worthy simply for your being, and you are here simply to be. The light codes that each one of you have inside of you, all that matters is that they are here, and that you live in and express through joy and love. We recommend, again, simplifying your life. Take inventory of what is serving you and those around you, and what is simply old habit, old routine, or simply a pattern rooted in a fear of stepping into the unknown. Many of you get caught up in cycles, and even though you are unhappy in them, they are what you know. And so they are safe in that they are known. We would ask that you step into the unknown and know that you are born of the unknown and that your greatest asset is your own untapped unknown inside of you. For once again, you are here to be here. You are here to experience and express joy. You are here to love, to allow yourself to be loved, for you are all love. And that is why you need not worry about worth. You are all deserving. Even the lowest frequency being that you could conjure in your brain at this time that we are speaking to you now, even that person is worthy of all good things. Everyone here plays their role. And when we no longer need certain roles to exist for our own evolution, our own growth, our own opening and softening into full acceptance and grace and love, then they will no longer have what she watches soap operas. They will have no longer, I'm hearing, front burner storyline. They will no longer be necessary. They can go into the character closet and transform and choose another frequency.
Thank you for that clarity.
Of course.
Because Little Fawn works with other energy beings, I'm curious if there's anything else you would like to share, or if you would like to invite another being that Little Fawn works with to step forward.
We thank you for creating the space for us to come through in this way. We will leave you now in love, for you are love. I am the Lyran goddess of truth and right of way. You may call me Guitarra.
Guitarra. Hi there.
Hello.
My name is Brandon. I am a friend of Little Fawn. And what Little Fawn has shared is that she has been working with, listening to, and learning from beings like yourself. This afternoon, we're making a recording that she intends to share with other people, and so that they could learn and benefit in the way that she learns and benefits. Are you okay with that?
Yes.
This afternoon, we wanted to ask, is there a message in particular that you have either for Jenny or for people here more broadly that you would like them to know and to hear?
I come from a planet that was destroyed. We all had to leave or be destroyed. And so most of my existence has been as a refugee on a new planet. I would encourage all of you at this time to release judgment of what the egoic mind thinks is right. There is no right. There is no wrong. It is all simply a state of being at that time of being. I am encouraging everyone to go deep within and ask yourselves the big why, not why are you here? You are here, as we have already established, simply to be here. I would ask that you ask yourself why with every thought and every action that you take. Why? What is the impetus for choice? Why do you say what you say? Do you even need to say it? How is it serving? How is it creating a vibration of love, or is it not? And if it is not, why do you choose it? What is the offering in this choosing, knowing that it is counterintuitive to reaching your higher potential? And so I would encourage you to know no more judging. And that, I have found in my observation, starts with inside of your own hearts. Those people around you are reflections of what is inside of you. So what you see always is showing you who you are or who you could be. And so when you look to that with compassion, with grace, with acceptance, then you not only shift inside of you, but you will watch as those around you shift, sometimes before your very eyes. Someone with whom you could be not looking forward to having an interaction with could turn out to surprise you if your perspective and your intention coming into the exchange is different and rooted in seeing the light of love in all.
It sounds like, in part, you're encouraging us to see in a different way. Normally, when we see, it's with our eyes, we take in a form, and we also might have an image in our mind of how a person has been before. But it sounds like you want us to connect with one another differently.
Yes, I mean, if you take a look at how you have been doing it, how would you say it has been going so far? For some, it has been okay. But as a collective, it could use work. And acceptance is the key. The reason that you all incarnated so differently is for this lesson of acceptance and knowing that in spite of being different on the outside, you are all born from the same inside. And so, again, we would remind you that there are a good portion of you here who, like me, are refugees. And we are not speaking of within your country, within your planet, we are talking about most people here at this time have star seeded or have been displaced or have chosen to come in at this time to facilitate this frequency shift, to help contribute to the light grid, to bring the whole of the planet. The Earth herself is also rising in frequency. And this is in part because of all of you who have come to help lend your light beings to her grid. Everywhere you walk, the grid lights up simply for your being. There are those, and I am sure that you have come across them, when they enter the room, the energy changes. Now, sometimes this can be for worse, as you would say, but a lot of times we are finding that there are people who are unaware on a visceral level of the fact that they shift things just by moving around in the world. And it does not matter if they know this or not. It only matters that they are, and that they continue, and that they go and get their coffee where they get their coffee, and they go to work where they go to work, and they take their walks when they take their walks, for the interaction that they have on the earth grid and with the animals and with the plants and with the other beings that cross their path lights a new spark that creates a new web of frequency that helps elevate the whole to this higher frequency spectrum. But this all comes from acceptance, and this all comes from non-judgment, and this all comes from knowing that you really are brothers and sisters. You are family. You come from the same. We all come from the same. We all fractalized from the same initial source. And that we all welcome each other with open arms. For at one point, even now, we have all been in a position of not being home. I hope that makes sense.
You know, the way you put it, what comes to mind is that even to live simply, directly, in an unassuming way, not in a big way, because where we are, to be important and to be meaningful, usually things have to be big and splashy, and you have to convince a lot of people, to think or look or certainly do a certain way. But it sounds like what you're saying is just to live and simply live, so long as you do it peaceably and with love. It sounds like it's contributing, even if outwardly it doesn't appear as though much is happening.
You all like to get credit when you do something good. And the point is that it should just be the standard of living. So one doesn't need credit when one is living from love, for you simply are love within and then without. All around you is reflecting back that love. You don't need validation from the outside. So even if we post this video and one person sees it, it doesn't matter, because the vibration and the frequency will go out into the world, and those for whom it is for will receive it. But all that matters is that the exchange between little Fawn and Brandon was had in this way, for this makes things better.
Well, thank you so much for this education.
Of course.
this afternoon I'm thinking of people outside this room. I did not myself prepare any particular question for you. Is there anything else that you would want to impart to others? And another thing I should ask too is, having lived as a refugee, and in fact it sounds like you still live as a refugee, are you safe where you are?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I am part of a higher council of many beings from many different places in order that we can start to help facilitate high harmony across the whole of the universe. And so, yes, I am safe. We learn to create home from within. And when we do that, when we are comfortable in our own skin, no matter where we are becomes comfortable with us, because we don't give off any signals to it that says we are not comfortable. And so when you move around in the world, be curious instead of fearful. Soften your frequency. Know that you are safe inside of yourself always. And when you truly know this, and when you truly feel this, then those who you come in contact with will have no cause to doubt it. You will no longer become a trigger for their fear, so that it may mirror back to you what is hiding inside of you, aching to be acknowledged, to be held and loved, and to be not judged or tucked away. We would just ask as a council that you learn to create those harmonic frequencies inside of yourself, so that as you vibrate, everyone has a frequency, so that as your frequency is emanating and going out in waveforms across your planet and across the universe, what you do here on this planet does not only affect you on this planet. It goes out into the whole of the universe, which is why you are all being watched so carefully and held in so much love at this time. So just be curious instead of judgmental. Look at things through the eyes of a child. Be in wonder. You are all miracles in motion. You all breathe the same life force energy in and through you and back out into the world. So in this way you can start to filter, so that what you breathe and what you pulse is love.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
Before Jenny connected with you, we were connected with the elders. And I'm curious if there is anything else you want to share this afternoon. You're welcome to share that. Or you could allow Jenny to connect to see if anyone else is available to share this afternoon.
It was a pleasure speaking with you. I will leave you now in love. I am Casparé. I am a royal star lion. I am one of Little Fawn's guides. I am with her always. You have a question?
Good afternoon, Casparé. My name is Brandon. I'm a friend of Little Fawn's. This afternoon, Little Fawn has been sharing with others what she's been learning herself. And as one of her guides, I'm curious if there's anything that you'd want to impart to people more generally, knowing that the message might be shared more broadly than it might normally be.
I would say that in your world now, there is so much turmoil that it puts you in fear. And so when you are in fear, you tend to contract. You tend to go smaller. You tend to go not within in the way that we would like to see you go in, but you just get small. And you put up walls. You think these walls will protect you, and they are illusions. You do not need walls. You do not need borders even. This is all futile. Nothing belongs to you, and you don't belong to anything. You simply are. You are all choosing to be here now, choosing to be on this planet now, choosing to share. So we would say share, open, become translucent, lean into the light body so that you have an awareness of being able to choose your experience. And we know that some of you think that this is not real, but there is nothing more real. You choose your experience. And so rather than put up walls that would bar out the good that is trying to come through and to you, we would say, kick them down, dissolve them, let them go, open, expand, allow yourself to receive all of the good that is coming to you now already, for it is all good. It is all an offering. It is all an expression, and you are all meant to experience such joy if you would only allow yourselves to open to it. You close. You're so afraid of each other when each of you is, you are each other. You are all part of the same. There is no need to fear. Look for the light that mirrors through the eyes, that echoes the truth of the soul within each of you.
Casparé, you act as a guide for Little Fawn. I'm curious, do you think that other people have the capacity to connect with their own guide, or does that happen at a time and circumstance that the guide decides?
We are always here. We are always ready. It is only a matter of choice and tuning in. You all have guides available to you. You all have this higher wisdom within you. We are all just extensions of you, aspects of you, friends of you. All you need to do is ask. We do not interfere. We will not just impose ourselves upon you, but we are here watching. And if you step too far out of the agreed upon timeline that the soul made, we have the capacity to give a gentle nudge, but we do not overstep, and we do not come in unless we are asked. This is a free will experience, and so while we are always here, always watching, always wanting to help, we can only do so at your call. So I would encourage you to make the call. There is so much available to you. This is a multi-dimensional experience, and you all are choosing to stay so limited and small. You need to open, expand, make yourself big, big, as big as you can. Take up space. Know that there is plenty of space for all of you to be big. And to be big doesn't mean to take over. To be big doesn't mean to overextend into someone else's space, but there are harmonic frequencies where you can play together. You can start to dance with and experience a little bit of what the merging of energies would feel like. What does that oneness feel like? That is what connecting to us can give you. That feeling of what it is like to come into a space where you simply connect to each other and experiencing each other without words. Just a feeling, just a knowing, just an exchange of energy. It is a beautiful thing. And as this planet moves higher and higher in frequency, and you all begin to embody these higher frequencies in a new way, you will be able to dance more freely in and out of denser physical expressions and light body experience. It will be a beautiful thing, but you begin now simply by connecting. We are all here, always. It is you who must take off the blinders.
Thank you so much for that instruction and those insights as to what's available. And sometimes when we don't know what's available, we would think to ask for it or to look for it.
I would say to start with actively imagining. Little kids have imaginary friends. And are they imaginary? We would say no. And so you grow up and you're told that's not real. And so you begin to believe it. And so now we would say, believe the opposite thing. What you think, what you feel, more importantly, is real. So tap into it. If you think that you have a giant lizard as a guide, then welcome the giant lizard as a guide. If you feel like there is a beautiful white-winged angel around you, welcome the beautiful white-winged angel. There are no wrong forms, for most of us do not need form anymore. And so we will take on one that is of your liking. In this way, we help you feel safe in the connection and create comfort.
Well, thank you so much again. That's, I think, even more reassuring for people to know that when they reach out, that they can connect, and that from the other end, there will already be the intention that there is a feeling of comfort and safety and support. And also, I appreciate your insight to be childlike, to let go of maybe the boundary we've made about, well, if I can't see it, it's not real. If I just feel it, it's just a feeling. But you're encouraging people to lean into their felt sense and intuition and the images and supports that arise. I think that's a necessary message for some people to hear, definitely.
It is indeed. It's all an illusion, really. She is playing a scene from Harry Potter. Is this all in my head? Of course it is. Doesn't mean it's any less real. So create your worlds, inner and outer, for there will be a point where they merge into something beautiful, something beyond what you could have imagined, because you will put yourself in the place of co-creation with the divine, of which you truly are.
All right. At this time, I was going to invite the session to begin to wind down. I feel like so much wisdom and insight has been imparted with so many pointers and instructions, really for people to get a firm grasp on something that, maybe clicked for them or spoke to them. I feel like many people could benefit from this time we've shared together. But I do want to thank you especially for your insight and your time this afternoon.
It was my pleasure, truly. I will leave you now in love and in curiosity.
How are you?
Definitely on a higher frequency band, that's for sure.
Yeah.
My eyes are watering.
That was a lot in a very short amount of time.
Yeah, it was cool though.
Yeah. You okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know this
My
is a
eyes
thing.
are probably huge.
I know this is a thing you do, but then there's still like the energetic sense of doing an activity.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to check in.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
It's a thing I do usually, quietly by myself. So it was definitely a new thing for me, but it was very cool. A very cool space to be in as the not even the through, but like the exchange. I think like Casparé was saying, that merge point that just allows the fluidity, and then learning to trust it. So it was cool.
Yeah, I think that idea of co-creation, right? Yeah, there's a lot in spirituality about getting rid of your ego and not having wants. And I think that can derail us in a sense of, even if something feels like, it's a deep want from the heart, it truly is not only to our best intention, but to other people's. We might say, well, if I really want it badly, I don't think I'm supposed to want things badly anymore. And you could totally walk away from, avoid what,
Right.
Really might be to your own benefit and other people's, just because of how general messaging gets
It's
had.
okay to want though. Like, we're supposed to. That's how you create. You can't create anything if you don't want to see it come to form. So you have to kind of, of course, check in with like your motive and your why, but you have to want stuff in order to create stuff. And I know in working with Asha for the past few years, they are manifestation in motion. That the two phrases that kept coming up were the frequency of one and manifestation in motion. So it's just learning how to be fluid in your trust. That if it feels good, you can have an ego, but we've made the ego like the pilot, and it was only ever meant to be like not even a navigator, like just a background program that runs and keeps us fed and out of danger. You know what I mean? Like it was never meant to run the show. but is running the show. So you can have it, but it just kind of needs to be put in its place.
Yeah, and I believe it was Guitarra who said, "Well, how's that going?"
Yeah. But she's newer. She only recently came through, but I had a feeling that today she would want to step up. And the Lyrans, it's a feline. They're not cats in the sense that they're on all fours, but there's a very strong feline energy, and so there's like a little bit of a sauciness there. But like it's soft.
Oh yeah,
her energy was
sauciness.
very soft,
but
she's definitely, you know, a little bit like, how's that going?
Which sometimes you need that pointing out in that way. How's that going for you? So is there anything else you want to share as we close the video, close this first session? Is there anything you want to share that you want other people to hear, to know, either about your experience or,
I think just the more of us that connect and the more of us that trust, again, in feeling, most of us have a barometer on the body. The body's a great co-creator, a great tool. So most of us have a feeling in the body. For me, it's like my knees. I don't know why it's my knees. Some people, it's their gut or whatever. But trust the feeling that the feedback that your body gives you. If all of a sudden you connect to something and it feels like cold and you're on edge, ask it to leave. You know what I mean? But also set your intention. When I set up, it's very clear the frequency that I want to play in, and that who's allowed, to come into the space. And it's not even, again, I don't know, who is it, Casparé, talking about the walls? Like, it's not even about going, no, you're not allowed, you're not allowed, you're not allowed. It's more about going, this is what I choose.
Yeah.
And that choice will set the literal tone for what will come in, because anything that's discordant it's not gonna get access.
It's like when you go to the bookstore. Like, you go to the bookstore and you go to a certain section, you go, this is the kind of book I want to read right now. You don't throw out all the other books.
Right.
And you don't build partitions between this section of the bookstore and the other. It's just, I'm in this section right now, and this is what I'm looking for.
That's a beautiful analogy of just resonance. That's what you're looking for.
So again, and I'm thinking of someone who is seeing this, hearing this, listening to this, and then says, very shortly, I might go and try this myself. So it's just that idea of to go and, kind of maybe with eyes closed, kind of look into yourself, but then offer that you're setting an intention of wanting to meet the specific frequency. Maybe you're curious about, do I have a guide? What would they look like? How would they respond to me? Or is there someone else out there? Think
of it like, when they send out the bat signal, it's not for anybody else other than Batman. You know what I mean? Like, it's in the shape of a bat inside of a light. So it's like, cast that light to a frequency that can match it with your intention. And if you bring fear into it, it's not really going to work. So that's why it's important to choose to be curious and then trust, in the beginning especially, your body. And you can usually breathe out fear. If you're like, whoa, what's happening? Wait, this feels okay though. Okay, I'll keep going with it. And know that, again, we're a free will society. Everything is choice. So it's not that hard to be like, not you. But very rarely will it, like, I haven't had it happen. You know what I mean? It's your intention is everything.
I think too, when we're doing something new and different, totally natural to feel nervous, anxious, unsure. Super normal and natural. But it's just maybe even, whether it's through a breathing technique to invite yourself to soften and settle in a little more deeply, or, that nervous part of me, if it could take a $5 while we explore this.
I joke, give your mind a coloring book. Put it in the corner.
Nervous
and let it,
I have a Pokemon coloring book with your name on it.
Here's your favorite crowns.
And your favorite, I'm giving you the markers. I know I
Right.
never give you markers. It's always crayons and,
Right.
colored pencils. But today
Go
you get
nuts.
markers. Yeah, have fun over there while I do this. Yeah, that's great.
It's so true. And then like today I used oils.
Mhm.
Like we said, for me it really is instant. Like, oh, I'm in a different frequency now. And so it can be that simple as putting something on your heart, something on your crown, and choosing to just kind of link up your higher self with, your own higher wisdom that can then take you wherever.
Yeah. Perfectly said. No, that's fantastic. Because I think, especially with this first video, just trying to put
I
something
know.
together that is meaningful, impactful, but also works as a guide for people.
Yeah,
so that,
and I'm big
yeah,
on that. Like
yeah.
we are like the age of the guru is dead. I mean, if you're still doing that, you do you. But I'm more interested in, like, I always joke, like, of course I want clients, but also I get so excited when I see it click and people know that they can do it for themselves, because that's the point, is we really are all complete. We're like these little self-sufficient, amazing, divine sparks of source. And so when you start to tap into that and start to see it kind of in motion, in practice, in little ways that maybe only you recognize, you go, oh, I always had a problem with that, guy who does my oil changes, and now I don't. And it's your perspective that shifted. He's still the same guy. Like, those little wins start to kind of like, they build up.
Accumulate.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
accumulate into a new reality.
Yeah.
It's not even about like lining them up and getting credit like in this and this and this. It's more like, oh, look, it's like how we became vegan. Louie and I, one day I was like, I just listened to my body. It didn't want stuff anymore. I wasn't able to digest, meats and stuff. And then, but one day I was like, when did I become a vegan? Like, it just happened. I created a new reality just with action and choice.
Without efforting and
striving. Going, I'm going to do this. Yeah, it was just listening, paying attention, and then acting in accordance with.
Strong word.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for this.
Thank you.
This was a wonderful session. It was wonderful to bear witness to.
Thank you.
To support. Let's do it again.
Yes, let's do it again.
I'm going to give a deep bow to you. Thank you for sharing your gift today.
Thank you for holding space for it to be God's work.
Absolutely.